Okay, and welcome to this little demonstration of how to interpret the summative evaluation. Okay, we have logged on as student Howard Cosell, who is in the team Ronan, and we will, you see here, his various teammates, and when he completed his evaluations for the formative and summative. And you see his teacher over here, John Connor. So all we do as the student is click on View Individual Profile right here. Okay. And you see his profile. Okay. It's called the Teamwork Skills Inventory Profile. It's showing all of the feedback. Okay. And this is as a result of him finishing all of his evaluations for all of his teammates and of all of his teammates finishing all of their evaluations. Okay, if someone did not finish their evaluations, like if they left off the summative, the data here would not be the same. It would be incomplete data. Okay, so you always see the N here, and the N is because Howard has 5 teammates. There are 6 people in the team, but he is the other person. So in terms of the peers, we're only counting the peers, the number of peers. So he's got 5 peers formative, 5 peers summative. That's another way that you can tell if there's someone who's been left out, who hasn't done theirs. Okay? Self-evaluation, there's always an N of 1, of course, for the formative and for the summative. And then you see a change column. The change notes any changes, whether they be improvements or or going back, non-improvements, I guess you could say, between the formative and the summative for the peers, and then between the formative and the summative for the self-evaluation. That's what these columns are. So again, here we have for Howard the listing of each teamwork skill, and you can always have the hover over to see a little quick definition as well. But now we see let's look at question 1 or team skill 1. In terms of the peer percentage, we've got 60% who felt like Howard demonstrated that during the formative, and then it went up to 100% at the summative. And what's interesting about this particular team skill, is that was a goal that he set for himself to improve. Okay, that's why the star is solid and full, is because of improvement. Now, in terms of formative, when we go from formative to summative, under his self-evaluation, it's only a half-filled star because it's saying that there is no change. Okay, and that is a particular item that was a goal. That's why it is designated by a star. Okay, let's look at another example. Here you have question 2 or team skill 2. Formative, the peers collectively, 60% of them felt he demonstrated this, and then also 60% at the summative. So it's just shown as a 0 when there is no change, and when it's not selected as a goal. Okay? The 0 also shows in case a person, in terms of the self-evaluation, in case a person did not check or give themselves credit for it. Okay? This is true with the formative self-evaluation. It's true with the summative self-evaluation. And the 0 is showing there was no change at all. Okay. Question 3 or team skill 3. We go from formative, 80% of his team skills, to 80% of his teammates thinking he demonstrated this, to 60%. And he happened to have chosen this as a goal, so it's more of an outline showing that this goal was not at all achieved. In fact, it went. There was a downward spiral in terms of progress. There was a negative progress, I guess you could say. Okay? Here we see under self-evaluation, Howard gave himself credit for formative demonstration of question 3, but not summatively. So that is also shown in terms of a goal with a hollow star when there is, in fact, a lack of progress in the negative direction. It's worse than no change at all. It simply is a person went downward. They did not do as well the second time. Let's put it that way. Okay. Another thing you see here, for example, you'll see question 5. Peer does a fair share of the work expected of everyone. Here we went from 60% of the peers to 20% of the peers. Okay. So that's shown as a negative, right? As a drop, and that was not chosen as a goal. So the drop in progress is shown by a negative. Okay. Here's another example. Look at question 6. Peer admits uncertainty when in doubt about what to do. We go from 40% of his peers to 60% of peers. That's improvement. This item was not a goal, so the improvement was shown between the formative and the summative with a plus sign. Okay, pretty simple, huh? Again, you're simply looking at items that are showing the progress or lack thereof, right, or a drop as being related to whether they're a goal, in which case the star is used, whether it's full, empty, or half full. And in most cases, because we only have 4 stars, there's only 4 goals we allow, in most cases we'll see the items being shown as being either a 0, meaning no change at all, right, or a plus, or a minus. Okay? Now, as you can see down here, here's more examples. As we go down to the bottom, you can always print if you want to. You can print the profile. And look at the bottom. This is profoundly important right here. The inflation index, okay? This shows that he has inflated 2 of the 6, okay, for the formative. He inflated 2 of the 6 evaluations that he did, okay? Now, again, there were 6 people on the team. He was one of them. It could have been him, and there's a way in which the instructor can tell behind the scenes. But this shows the student and makes the student aware. Look, you're kind of inflating things. 2 out of the 6 evaluations had evaluations with 20 or more team skills checked. And simply the reason why we do that is we're trying, again, in many ways, to draw attention to the student that the tendency towards grade inflation, towards giving more credit than one deserves or more credit than his or her peers deserve, that's not a good way to do things when the whole point behind using the system is to let people know how you really feel about what they can do better. That's the whole point of the system, okay? It's not to positively reinforce everyone all the time for everything. For the summative, this was a successful change in terms of he did not inflate any of the 6 assessments that he did. So that's good. Okay? So this is how to understand or interpret the feedback that is on the summative profile. Okay? All right. Okay. Bye for now, and we're going to log out of here. Okay.